And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't fully determined yet that I am an absolute Star Trek nerd, here you go. Here's your proof. You just finished watching Star Trek Lower Decks? What'd you think? Actually, it's funny you say that because literally today, I started a rewatch of it. I know, that was awesome. And of course, well, spoiler alerts for Picard, but he does the exact same thing in the season finale of Picard, comes into the rescue. So it's like, that's now like a, I don't know, like a stupid little cliche. Riker comes in at the last minute for a rescue. Yeah, exactly. He did that in the finale TNG too. I forgot about that. God. He's always coming in to save the day. And then technically you could say he's also coming in for the rescue in Star Trek Insurrection, getting Picard off the collector. Oh my God. I never thought about that. Like, it became a joke because it happened back to back in Picard and Lower Decks. But yeah, he swoops in for the rescue a lot. And if you really want to split hairs, and this would probably open up a big can of worms though, like you could say he did it, rescuing Picard at the second part of Best of Both Worlds, even though the Enterprise was there for a long time and just lingering for a while. Oh, in the end of Best of Both Worlds? Oh, you mean in the intro? Oh, that really would have messed with people. Oh my God, that really would have messed with people. That would have been perfectly evil. I love it. You know what I always found funny is that in the movies, in all of the Star Trek movies, you know that Leonard Nimoy has done the Space the Final Frontier monologue for 3 movies, and William Shatner did none of them? End of 2, beginning of 3, and the end of the 09 movie. I always found that really funny. Like, it's a Star Trek movie, I guess Leonard Nimoy's got to do the Space the Final Frontier. Let's be honest, he has a much better voice for it anyways. I mean, Bill Shatner makes it sound very, like, obviously, like, space adventure-y for the original series, which is great. But Leonard Nimoy doing it in the movies just makes it sound oh so epic and sexy. He makes everything sound like his Rocket Man did. And I'm gonna be high as a kite. I'm a rocket man. I'm drawing the line. The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther. I will make them pay for what they have done. Name that movie, McRib. Undiscovered Country. No! Star Trek First Contact. So Star Trek First Contact. Undiscovered Country is fantastic. Do not get me wrong. Undiscovered Country is like top 5, if not top 4 of the Star Trek movies for me. It's a great movie. I love that movie. You watch First Contact once, watch it again. Watch it more. It's so good. It's the best TNG movie. That is undisputable. Remember liking First Contact, but also liked Generations as well. Yeah, Generations gets far more slack than it deserves. Generations, I think, is a solid movie. It does have some obvious plot holes. Mainly focused around the fact that why the hell did Picard not, you know, get rid of Soren back in like 10 forward, you know, in the beginning of the movie, but hell, whatever. Other than that, it's like a great TNG movie, as in like a movie that you would expect from directly following the TV show. Whereas the other TNG movies definitely separated themselves by being like new ship, new sets, new uniforms, everything. So Generations I think it's a great movie, and nothing will ever beat the crash scene. That scene is so good. All right, let's see. Plus, I prefer the Galaxy-class starships to the Sovereign class. See, that's where I disagree there. Just me personally, obviously the Enterprise D is a classic ship. Not disputing that at all. Like, it is iconic. But in terms of design, it had never been my favorite. I always thought it was very bulky and it had some unattractive qualities for me. I really like the Sovereign class. I thought that was a sexy movie ship. I thought that was a sexy movie hero ship. Name one of the Star Trek movies to watch, Kelvin Timeline included. I mean, my favorites are 2, 3, 4, 6, Generations, First Contact, 09, and Star Trek Beyond. So 8 of the 8 of the 13 movies I think are really good. And with the motion picture being that exception of you have to be like a hardcore Star Trek fan to really enjoy the motion picture, which I do. I do enjoy the motion picture. I know it's dull and boring, and I don't know why they did some of the things they did with it, but it's also Starship porn, and I'm a fan of Starship porn. Oh, name one for you to watch right now? Well, hell, since I just recently watched it and I have a reappreciation for it, when was the last time you watched Generations? It's been forever for that one? Perfect. Watch it. I seriously think it's like... Generations to me hits that nostalgia point because it's the one TNG movie that's actually like on the same sets and the same mostly the same uniforms of the TNG show, and of course the same ship and everything. So like it hits that nostalgia point, but also makes it far more cinematic than the show ever was. So yeah, that's what I'm worried about, like Star Trek fatigue right now, because there are currently 5 Star Trek shows in production right now. Discovery Season 4, Picard Season 2, Lower Deck Season 2, a new animated show called Star Trek Prodigy, and Star Trek Strange New Worlds. They're all in production right now. So I will fully admit that I am a little concerned about Star Trek fatigue happening right now, especially if Paramount gets their shit together and, you know, decides to make another movie, which they absolutely need to. Will I get fatigued of it? No. I will never get fatigued of Star Trek. But I guess in terms of like general audiences, because people are sick and tired of Star Wars right now, with the exception of The Mandalorian. But when Mandalorian was running with like Rise of Skywalker after Solo and everything, like people were getting sick of Star Wars. I know, right? Okay, let's see. Star Trek has predicted earbuds, uhura, flip phones, which are now hilariously out of date, iPads and tablets, conference views of visual calls, visual communication, Google Glass. If you remember that the Jem'Hadar ships used a headset piece thing to operate. God, what else? Touchscreen computers in general, absolutely. Scientists are currently working on a way to do vaccinations via the skin, aka the hypospray. That's something scientists are working on. I think I also saw a news special years ago. Obviously, it hasn't picked up much momentum since this was years ago I saw it. But scientists were also working on a way of using lasers to heal wounds, a la Star Trek. Oh yeah, 3D printers, absolutely. Yeah. Early replicators, absolutely. Leonard Nimoy said it was actually possible to go faster than the speed of light in a warp bubble. Okay, I am by no means an expert on this because I'm not an astrophysicist, but the general understood, accepted truth is that nothing can travel faster than light. That being said, that's why Star Trek is also scientifically accurate in the sense of warp drive, because warp drive is all about manipulating, now granted it's made up, but a layer of subspace, that's a made up thing, where you form like you said, form a bubble around the ship, and it basically just, it has like different laws of physics, and it just slips through space. It's like, I don't know, you have like a wet or a Vaselined up ping pong ball in your hand, and you squeeze it with your hand and the ping pong ball will go boo. It's basically what warp drive is. So although very fictional, it's still based off of theories that the only way that anything in the universe can travel faster than light is to basically manipulate the physics around something so that it interacts with the laws of the universe differently. Yeah, warp 1 is the speed of light, correct. So I guess in that theory, like if scientists discover how to travel the speed of light, then yes, we've technically accomplished warp speed. But in terms of going faster than light, the warp scale is exponential. So like warp 2 is double the speed of light. Warp 3 is double the speed of warp 2. Warp 4 is double the speed of warp 3, etc., etc., etc. So like the increase of speed curve goes like, woo. Like how they just have warp 5 as a limit. Oh, no. You're thinking of the warp restrictions. So there's an episode in the last season of TNG that's basically like the global warming episode of TNG. It's basically saying that traveling at warp speed actually damages subspace, so that extensive use of warp drive can damage subspace, and you need subspace in order to warp. So they're basically saying that we're initializing warp speed restrictions because the faster you go in warp, the more damage you do. So that's why they restricted everyone to warp 5. Now, yes, that thankfully was gotten rid of and forgotten about, because I thought that was a horrible concept. I thought that was a really dumb concept to introduce. I know they're trying to... Fuck me. I know they're trying to make it... It's basically their analogy to climate control. Their metaphor for climate control. But in the world of Star Trek, that was a dumb thing to introduce. Actually, the finale of TNG actually goes against the warp scale that they solidified around like the third season of TNG. So in the original series, even though the Enterprise rarely exceeded warp 9, the only time they ever went like warp 10 or higher was during like some goofy, crazy anomaly that like flings them in the time travel and whatnot. And then TNG solidified the fact that you cannot achieve warp 10 because in theory that is infinite velocity and you are everywhere in the universe simultaneously. But then of all episodes, the TNG finale with the hyped up Enterprise commanded by Admiral Riker comes swooping in and is like, hell, warp 13. It's like, oh, come on. Riker just showing off. It's like, yeah, I know warp 13 doesn't exist. Watch me hit it. How many words do I know in Klingon? More than I'm proud to admit. Because I can, like, quote some Klingon quotes that obviously have, like, multiple words in them, so... The way he's... I finally learned why he does that. I finally learned why Jonathan Frakes does that. It's because Jonathan Frakes, the actor in real life, suffered a back injury, like in his like late teens or early 20s, so that is the most comfortable way for him to get in and out of chairs, and it's also the reason why he's leaning on everything. Like he puts a foot up on something and leans on it, or he's leaning forward in his chair all the time. That is because of an actual back injury Jonathan Frakes had. I love that they named one of the space shuttles Enterprise. Oh, yeah. That was, that was because of a fan petition, right? A large group of fans petitioned NASA to name the very first space shuttle Enterprise. The only unfortunate thing is, being the first space shuttle, it never actually went into space. It was just used, the space shuttle Enterprise was just used for takeoff and landing tests. It didn't actually make it into orbit, which is so unfortunate. Whoever, I forget who brought up Star Trek in the first place, but yeah, I've now been talking about it for like, what, half an hour straight or more? And I thank you. I'm always ready to talk Star Trek. Dad joke! What do you call a baby monkey? a chimp off the old block.